I would rather be playing Fable 2.
This is the worst!
Motazita Banakis, welcome into the Worst Fantasy Show. I am your host with the least, Jack Lucenay, coming to you on this final week of the fantasy football regular season. We are shortly getting underway into the playoffs. Hopefully you are either already patched in or fighting your way to lock up, clinch that final playoff spot in your league. And if you need the help, I am here to answer all your final questions. Again, normally, if we get any questions in the chat, we'll prioritize those. But otherwise, we're going to take some questions from fantasysportsadvice.network. Shout out to those guys, run by my guy Tyler Bradley. It's like a social media for fantasy football. So I usually just go and scroll over and pull some questions from the fantasysportsadvice.network. But like I said, if you guys send some questions in via the chat, I'll try and answer those ahead of time as fast as I can. And also, for the whole algorithmic bullshit, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. But with our first question of the day, we have start 2.5 PPR, Jaylen Warren, Michael Pittman, or Travis Etienne. My, how far we have fallen, Travis Etienne.
Go fuck yourself.
Travis Etienne, who was drafted in about the same range as Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, and now in this week 14 of fantasy football, I'm getting asked, could I start him over Jaylen Warren? Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Warren, Michael Pittman, Travis Etienne, half PPR. The popular answer already, just based on, because it's a poll question, is Warren and Pittman. And I think that's probably the right answer. My gut instinct actually says Etienne and Pittman, because again, Jaylen Warren in the Steelers system, and I've said it from the very beginning, he is very much an auxiliary, ancillary player. He's not ever going to have the true breakout, barring an injury to Najee, that people want. I think I still go with Michael Pittman and Travis Etienne, as gross as that sounds. What up, Albert? Nice to see you in the chat. Thank you so much for stopping by. Ooh, am I crazy for thinking of dropping Justin Tucker for a new kicker instead of Josh Downs or Gus Edwards? I mean, you're not crazy for thinking about dropping Justin Tucker if you're in a redraft league. I just don't think in a redraft league you need to prioritize kickers at all. And clearly Justin Tucker isn't the clear de facto advantage number one kicking option that he has always been. I mean, there's probably better options on waivers right now if you just look up kicker leaderboard. Me personally, I've had several weeks this year in several leagues where I've gone without a kicker for like the entire week, and then I'll just pick one up on Sunday because I want to be able to hold that extra running back or wide receiver, especially with all the injuries that we're seeing now. Breece Hall, unlikely to play. Braylon Allen has been a big pickup. We're also seeing Kenneth Walker is potentially doubtful, and therefore Zach Charbonnet might have a larger role today. But getting back to kickers, like Will Lutz, he's on bye this week, but he's literally the number 4 kicker on the year. So, Nick Folk right now is number 11. He only has 5 fantasy points on the season, less than Justin Tucker. So, yeah, I don't think, Tucker, ranked 9th right now, is behind guys like Chase McLaughlin, Cam Dicker, Jake Bates, Will Lutz, I already mentioned. Like, your number 1 fantasy kicker this year, by a long shot. Like the top 2 right now is actually Chris Boswell, Kaimi Fairbairn, and then Brandon Aubrey pulling in third. A lot of kicker questions. All right, let's go. But yeah, not crazy to drop Justin Tucker. Oh, here's a tough one. Jerry Jeudy or Tyrone Tracy in full PPR. Purely on a matchup basis, I think I like the matchup for Tracy versus New Orleans a little better, but the answer is Jeudy. I mean, Jerry Doug Jeudy is just seeing an insane, insurmountable amount of targets. And even though it's not a great matchup against the Steelers, one way you can beat the Steelers, I feel like, is through the air on quick passes. I still expect Jeudy to see 12 to 15 targets in this game. So I'm not going away from it. But Tyrone Tracy, I think, is a really solid play. But I still lean on Jeudy, especially in a PPR. Oh wow. Okay. This is a crazy question. Bucky Irving and a 2025 first for CMC in a dynasty. Obviously, this is a dynasty question now. Would I trade? So let me think about this on two sides. Bucky Irving and a 2025 first for CMC. Yeah, I mean, I actually think that's a good deal in dynasty. Especially if you're a rebuilding team, you get a younger running back and you get the first round pick, which I think is the most important thing. I don't want to be the one holding on to CMC at this point in a dynasty league. If I wouldn't trade, I don't know if I also think on the flip side, that would be enough for me to move off of CMC. Like if I'm a competing team and the rebuilding team wants to hold CMC and maybe trade him at a future value, or they're thinking backwards, because I don't see how this works where you trade CMC to a competing team that knows they're not going to be able to use him for 2 years. Yeah, that's crazy. The CMC injury just wrecking. Sorry, Kenny 49ers. We're talking about the devastation of the injuries to your team, especially CMC's second injury. Can we be confident Bucky, Neighbors, or Evans play past the first half? Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can be well, I don't know about Neighbors, actually. I think the Giants are one of those teams that are bad enough and stupid enough that they are. Bucky and Mike Evans, though, they don't concern me because the Bucks are still very much like fighting for their playoff spot. Like they're not clinched into anything. So I'm not worried about them trying to pull their starters. And we've seen even like if they get up huge, it's not that they're going to pull Mike Evans. It's that they're just going to lean on the run so much. But they're only 6-6, right? So it's not like they can just like, coast like they're 12-4 or whatever. Like they are, you know what I mean? They're not Minnesota at 10-2. Sorry, is what I was trying to say. Like they're not the Eagles at 10-2, where it's like the Eagles facing the Panthers. I would be more concerned actually if they just kick the shit out of them in the first half. Like that's where you could see starters get pulled. But it's like again, Vegas, even though Vegas is 2-10, they're also gonna probably push the scoring at least a little bit because you imagine like Brock Bowers, O'Connell should be fine for this game. He was dealing with an illness, and I think Aiden O'Connell, and I've said this from the very beginning of the season, is an above average NFL quarterback. So not good, not even, definitely not great, but I don't even consider him like a good NFL quarterback. And I think sometimes we get lost in those tier breaks where it's like, but he's not average to me either. I think he is above average, but not good. And, again, you're talking about NFL quarterbacks and the myriad outcomes. the way he played against the Chiefs, I think, was very encouraging. And so when I look at, is Vegas going to be able to push the scoring for Tampa to have to try the whole game? Absolutely. I think that's possible. So I don't think that the Bucks get pulled. The only thing with Neighbors is Neighbors technically should not play. Like if I'm the NFL organization at this point, Neighbors is, like you said, playing halves of football, and I want to limit his exposure to targets and hits because there's no point right now on a 2-10 season when I'm starting Tommy fucking DeVito to be running out Malik Neighbors. But the organization doesn't think that way, and a lot of times coaches don't think that way. So would not shock me at all if Malik Neighbors ends up playing all 4 quarters. Like, as stupid as that would be, it wouldn't shock me at all. And he says, "Oh, it's okay. We're in bad shape." Yeah, Niners are out of it at this point. Their division is too good, even though the records don't necessarily reflect it. Like Seattle at 7-5, Arizona at 6-6, and the Rams at 6-6. San Fran's right there at 5-7, but they just have lost too much. I don't think they can claw back. I think the 2 wins behind Seattle is already enough to knock them out, to be honest. All right, let's get a couple more questions from the Advice Network. Ooh, I love kicker questions. We got a kicker question, rest of season. Parker Romo for Minnesota, Jake Moody for San Fran, or Tyler Bass for Buffalo? Yo, I wish I had the drop. It's all about that bass, by that bass. No trouble. We're definitely taking Tyler Bass. You could argue for Parker Romo, and I get that, but I actually prefer Bass, especially I'm looking at the schedule for Buffalo the rest of the season. It's actually pretty juicy, especially week 16, 17. Home matchups, division rivals. They get the Jets and the Patriots in those weeks. So they should be able to beat up on them pretty handily. And I see a lot of opportunities for Tyler Bass. Plus, those are 2 home games. So him kicking at home feels good. Jelly of the month. What's up? Morning. Need PPR running back 2 and flex. Rashad White. Damn. Excuse me. This is very much you are going to need to monitor right up until kickoff, Jelly, because I'm playing the 2 guys that the starters are out. Now, let me prioritize this for you. In some crazy world that they're all in, which I don't think they will be, or Brees is already out. Brees is ruled out, so we can forget about Brees. So that means Braylon Allen is in. So it's between Rashad White and Charbonnet, really. Monitor Ken Walker. He's been doubtful all week, and I don't think he's going to play. And I do think Bucky Irving will play because he practiced on Friday. So even though I like Rashad White, so this is it. I like Rashad White more if Ken Walker plays. If Ken Walker and Charbonnet are both playing, and Bucky Irving and Rashad White are both playing, I will play Rashad White over Charbonnet. However, if Ken Walker is deemed out, then I'm definitely playing Charbonnet and Braylon Allen. And I'm taking my chances on the upside because Rashad White, I think he has a good game, but his upside is definitely capped by the fact that he's going to see touches to Bucky Irving or Sean Tucker. It's just they use him in the role that they use him as like a second running back. And Kenny 49 said, would you go DK over Neighbors? DK scares the fuck out of me today. And I can tell you that I have DK everywhere. Everywhere. Like so many leagues do I have DK Metcalf. In fact, the 2 guys, I'm kind of like screwed in a couple leagues because my 2 most drafted wide receivers, and partly it was because I was trying to correlate the week 17 game where Seattle actually plays Chicago. And I was hoping like, hey, if both of these offenses flourish and we get a high powered game in that week 17, I want DJ Moore and DK Metcalf on both sides of that. So I actually have both of those guys. I benched Metcalf last week for Brian Thomas Jr. in my main $150 league. I'll tell you the options I'm looking at right now. So this is, again, we're going with my $150 league. I have to win and get in. I'm 7-6. I had some bad luck. I'm first in points 4. So I need to, if I win, I'm in automatically. If I lose, I need one of the other 7-6 teams to lose and I'll still get in. but obviously I would prefer to just, control my fate, win and get in. So right now in my lineup, like I've got Cooper Rush at quarterback. Saquon Barkley's holding it down for me at running back. I got Tyrone Tracy. And at wide receiver right now, above Metcalf in my lineup, I have Calvin Ridley, Brian Thomas Jr., and the ones I'm kind of debating is Adam Thielen, Zach Charbonnet, and then DJ Moore and DK Metcalf, like their availability. Who am I going to play? I'm treating DK Metcalf as a low-end wide receiver too. But I also don't think Neighbors is going to get you anything more than 6 for 60. Especially Drew Lock playing and everything. It's a good, decent matchup, but I think if you're in a situation like I'm in where you need to play it safe, like because the other thing is I'm facing a team that is the worst team in the league. They're 2-10, sorry. So I would probably take the floor play in that instance, and I would probably go with Neighbors, to be honest, in a PPR floor play, hoping for 12 points and like feeling like that's more locked in. But if I need the upside, I think I'm going to go with DK even regardless of the matchup. So shout out to fantasy footballers. They said DK Metcalf in his entire career with against the Arizona Cardinals has never gone over like 60 something receiving yards. And it's like, and their defense has been pretty good. I'm playing Arizona defense in a couple spots even. Oh, this one really scares me, but I think pure upside, you still have to go with DK and just pray that he breaks that weird streak. But I think the floor play is Neighbors. Dylan Fink, my man, what's up? Game day. Sorry for the long post. Don't apologize. We're here for your long posts. Full PPR, one quarterback, Carr, AOC, Rush. Ooh. I literally made this exact decision in my big money league, and I just said I went Cooper Rush. I'm playing it. I feel like I'm playing a little bit safe. Carr to me is like gonna get you 17 fantasy points, and then that's kind of it. I like the upside of AOC, but it still feels a little dangerous. I think Cooper Rush is just more established with the team, and what I've seen from this Cincinnati Bengals defense, I want to chase their ineptitude. So I've gone with Cooper Rush myself, and I had to make this literally the exact same decision. One tight end, Jawan, Fryermuth, or Knox. I'm actually going with the Muth. He's had his best matchup of the year besides against the Bengals in that crazy shootout was against Cleveland. I generally don't like the Muth because of Arthur Smith's tight end offense and the way he deploys his tight ends, but I would take the Muth here. And then wide receiver and flex, Westbrook Akine, Devonta Smith, Braylon Allen. I mean, that touchdown streak has to end at some point, doesn't it? I haven't picked NWH once. I think maybe I'm a little biased, but like the answer should be Devonta Smith and Braylon Allen, but I think you just got to chase the touchdowns at this point and hope that, Will Levis just throws it down the field every game. Devonta Smith, like, they just might not need him against the Panthers. So, yeah, I think for upside, NWH, and then I'll balance it out with Braylon Allen, who I think should have a decent day today. And then kicker question, Reichard, Bass, or Dicker. That's one of the few ones I'm going to go with Dicker, actually. He's a top 5 ranked fantasy kicker on the season, and the matchup against Kansas City, who's been giving it up through the air, but generally can kind of keep you out of the end zone. I think he gets some more opportunities. It's a better environment, too, so I'm going to actually go with Dicker the kicker. And Shades, what's up? Tua or Purdy? Oof. Tua. It feels rough, but the 49ers are just struggling so much, and with CMC now, and I'm looking at the matchup also. I think Tua is in an advantageous position today against the Jets, who are myopic. Oh, yeah, Tua by a little bit. Not like it's a huge margin of error, but Tua's been pretty solid the last couple of weeks. I think I would go with Tua. And then Waddle, Devonta Smith, or Jerry Jeudy. That's getting rough. I think I'm staying in the Flames with Jerry Jeudy, even though it's a tougher matchup. I do like Devonta Smith. I have snuck him into some of my best ball lineups. It's just tough to trust it because he's been so inconsistent this year and kind of unhealthy. And I don't think they're going to need him necessarily against the Panthers. It's like maybe he has a big game and you kind of hope that he has a big first half. I just think Jerry Jeudy is like so crazy. The target, it's like 12 to 15 targets a game. You can't ignore it. Yeah, I think I would stay with Jerry Jeudy still. Would I drop DK for any of these players? Elijah Moore, MVS, or Darnell Mooney? Fuck no. Even if I have good wide receivers, I already have Evans, Neighbors, and Westbrook Akine. It's PPR, but I always start 3 running backs who catch passes. Yeah, I still would not drop DK. The only time you drop a player the level of DK Metcalf is if you know for a fact that they are so bad, so incapable of a good performance, but yet such a big name that one of your playoff contenders is going to pick them up and put them in their lineup and tank their team. Like, you don't drop a dude like DK Metcalf. Like, leave him on the bench, and worst case, he blows up on the bench and not on somebody else's team to help them in the playoffs. Like, definitely do not drop him for any of those players. Yeah, fuck that. Hell yeah. All right, let's grab a couple more questions from Advice Network. If you guys got any more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll hit them. I'm going to do about a half hour today, and then I'm going to go play some more Fable 2 because I've been rocking the shit. I got Fable 1, 2, 3 for my son who doesn't give a shit. So I've been playing Fable 2 for 2 days straight now, and I'm having a hell of a time with it. Okay, here we go. Oh God. Okay, that's from last week, I think. We're already past all the questions for the Advice Network. That's okay. So I'll just talk about my leagues then. I've been going through kind of a catharsis this year. First of all, I've decided that Dynasty Fantasy Football is the worst format of all fantasy football. That's neither here nor there. That's a whole other discussion. The other thing is, I've decided that just season long in general, I'm kind of over it. I think I've become officially a best ball bro. I like the immediacy of best ball. I wanted to do some best ball with you guys today. Unfortunately, I'm still in Ontario, so I don't have access to Underdog until I go back to Quebec. But I just wanted to pull up. So I've got my main $150 league that I already talked about. I've got Derrick Henry and Terry McLaurin on bye, and I've been struggling with quarterback in this league. In fact, I lost last week because I benched Jameis Winston in a bad matchup, and of course he blew the fuck up for and was quarterback 1. So that's why I ended up losing last week against the number 1 seed in the league, which sucked because I would have clinched the playoffs. So that's where it's like, and like I said, I'm playing the guy now who's 2-11, actually. Sorry. And he's the last place team. So I think I'm probably going to play it safe. Like, I've got Trey Tucker on the bench who I could throw in for like a very boom type play against that Tampa defense. I've got DJ Moore, who I don't even know if he's going to be available. It does say he's expected to play, but he's been dealing with a quad literally all week, and I don't think he's actually practiced much at all this week. And obviously, the matchup against San Fran is not the greatest. So DJ Moore scares me. DK Metcalf, we already talked about, scares me because he's dealing with 5 different injuries, it feels like. He's cleared, but yeah, he's dealing with a shoulder, and he was already dealing with like, I think it was he tweaked his knee, and he was dealing with an ankle already. And yeah, the history against Arizona is really weird. That's something I hadn't actually like fully considered either, but it's neither here nor there. The other interesting one I have is the Warrior Bowl. I feel like I was doing really well in, but lately the team has been kind of stumbling and bumbling. And this was one where it was a super flex and I punted quarterback, which, genius move by me. This one's interesting. Like I have Kyle Pitts, who has been tremendously disappointing. Kyle Pitts feels to me like he's going to have a decent day today. In fact, I saw him get dropped in my Megala Bowl league, which is another one where luckily I made the playoffs. And I was able to scoop him up off waivers because it's like I didn't have a tight end at all this week. So I just was happy to have somebody. So actually in this league, here's a situation where I'm having to decide between DK Moore and DK Metcalf and DJ Moore, both of who have basically not practiced all week and are dealing with injuries. So, like, who would I play between the two of them? That's an interesting question. In that situation, I actually kind of lean DK Metcalf in spite of his weird history, like I was saying, with Arizona. So, like, he played Arizona week 12, went 4 for 59. And let's go back to 2023. He missed the game against Arizona. And then in week 18 had 1 for 10. And then 2022, 5 for 37, 2 for 34. 2021, 4 for 31, 5 for 58. Holy fuck. He really hasn't, eh? All the way back in 2020 now. 2 for 23, 3 for 46. 1 for 6 and 0 catches. Wow. So yeah, in his entire career, DK Metcalf has actually never put up more than 60 receiving yards against the Arizona Cardinals. So is this the week that he does that? Dealing with all kinds of injuries. It did say he was off the injury report and was basically a full go. But man, that makes me nervous. So it's like not even if he was fully healthy, it's like the worst matchup possible, basically, because they know how to play him. Yeah, maybe I will play DJ Moore instead. I mean, not like that was much better. San Francisco's ranked 6th right now against fantasy wide receivers based on sleeper. Yeah, I mean, I'm out here making life decisions just like you guys. So we're going to cut out here. We didn't get any more questions, and I just feel like going to game. So I appreciate you guys for stopping by this morning. Please make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back with the final, the last, the epitome, the conclusion of this year's Hearts and Farts, aka Studs and Duds. We're only going to do it for the regular season this year. And then going forward for the playoffs, we're just going to focus on, we're going to have the Thursday show and the Sunday show. Thursday is usually live at 7. If it ever changes, I post ahead. And then Sunday, obviously, is always the same. Sunday lives at 9 a.m. So we'll be going through for the Thursday and Sunday shows until the end of the fantasy playoffs. But the fantasy regular season is about to end, and we're going to wrap it up next on Monday. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the show so you get notified. And until the next time, I'll catch all of you guys on the flip side.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man. Here comes